Welcome back to the School of HardKnox podcast. On this week's show, it might get a little uncomfortable. That's right. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the things that are going on in our world that might be affecting you and how to deal with it. It is time to get on the bus because class is in session. This is episode 150 of the School of HardKnox podcast, and it starts now. Thank you for listening to the School of HardKnox podcast. This show is about personal development for business success. Not only do we tell the stories of successful people in order to create more successful people, we want to help you turn your thoughts and ideas into reasonable, rational, and profitable action. This show is about my life experiences, your life experiences, and how we can work together to become the best versions of ourselves. Prepare to be inspired, motivated, and most importantly, challenged. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the School of HardKnox podcast. It's your host, Mark W. Knox, coming to you another Monday in this blackest of Black History months. My. We got a lot to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. We got a whole lot to talk about today. And let me just give you the disclaimer that on this week's episode of the School of HardKnox podcast, we may talk about some things that you might find uncomfortable. We may talk about some things that might trigger you in certain ways, right? You see the title already of the show. I'm going to attempt to explain that, but we cannot ignore what's going on around us, right? As much as I would love to get on here and start this show and do this show week in and week out in a bubble. Yes, I would like to do this show in a bubble and not have to deal with or address things that are happening in the world. I completely understand that those same things affect how we move and how we operate, specifically in this country, right? Like I completely get it. Those same things that bother you, anger you, upset you, unfortunately stress you out, have you dealing with anxiety and things like that. Those are the same things that I deal with, the same things that I notice, and the same things that are happening to me. And all while I'm sitting here behind this microphone week in and week out, talking to try to motivate and inspire and try to help you be the best version of yourself, it will be very irresponsible for me to not address or to not mention the things that are constantly trying to come into our zone, things that are constantly trying to come into our minds that will affect how you progress in your career, in your business, in your marriage, in your parenthood. These things have to be dealt with. They have to be addressed. But the reality is there is a tool, there is a mechanism, which I'm going to attempt to explain to you today, kind of how I deal with things to move forward. So that's, the 30,000 foot view of what we're going to talk about today. That's what's going on. I will tell you that, again, I appreciate all of the well wishes. I appreciate all of the encouragements, all of the feedback that I've been getting about the show, about the specific episodes. Again, it's been a long time, right, since we started the show. So people that have been with me since the beginning, and you know who you are, you're essentially from 2019, September 2019, when we started, you're like 5 or 6 years older than you were when we started the School of HardKnox podcast. Like, believe it or not, we have been going for 3.5 years before we took the season of silence, and now we're back 2.5 years later. You are a different version of who you were before, right? So I completely understand that, and I really thank you guys for sticking with me. I thank you for locking back into the show, and we're just gonna keep it going. A couple special shout outs, man. Eric, I'm gonna shout you out again because I had the opportunity to speak to you this week. Duran, same thing. Eric, Friends with Benefits, CMOS. Like, listen, I appreciate y'all, because even when you mention that you listen to the show, or you mention that you liked a certain part, or even if you just seen a reel on IG that was a clip of the show, and you fed it back to me as far as like encouragements. I need that. I need that. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you. I appreciate you. So I wanted to definitely do that. Next thing I want to do is tell you or remind you that if you didn't do extra credit from last week, there's still time to do extra credit. We got another extra credit coming up this week, right? Our first one was about alignment. That was 2 weeks ago. Last week was about I did it because you know what I'm saying, I do it. Let's see. Last week was about urgency and importance, right? Just being busy for the sake of being busy. Yeah. This week, I'm gonna give you a sneak peek. This week is about protecting your mind, and guarding your heart. It's gonna be good. So let's get into it. Let me first start off by saying, I love y'all. If you take time to listen to this show, I love you. And I know a lot of you personally, and others, quite a few others I don't know, but I still love you. As our Bible teaches us, love is the foundation of everything. Love is our faith. And I don't want it to be confused. I don't want anybody that listens to this show, or anybody that knows me, to ever be confused on where I stand and who I am personally. Because I am giving you something. If you're listening, I'm giving you some type of knowledge. I'm giving you some type of spiritual food. I'm giving you something. And in order for you to receive that wholeheartedly, I need you to know who you're dealing with, right? I need you to know me. Again, it would be completely irresponsible of me to not talk about things that could ultimately affect the journey that all of us are on. I don't want to be that guy. So here's what I mean. When I look at the landscape of what's going on in the world right now, flat out, we have the whole situation with ICE, right? The Immigration Customs Enforcement up in Minneapolis and other parts of the country that are gaining headlines for seemingly doing the wrong thing. Right? I mean, there's a reason people protest. It ain't because you're doing the right thing. So, there's that. We have obviously multiple individuals have died at the hands of ICE. And I'm not here to give you any excuses. I'm not here to justify anything, but I will tell you that people shouldn't die when they're dealing with so-called law enforcement, right? We have the president, who I think still lives in the White House. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Half of the White House gone. He be in Florida. I don't know. But we got the president who continues to show us exactly who he is. We've got other politicians who have completely sold out their constituents and have fallen in line with the president and his philosophies. We have spiritual leaders and people that call themselves pastors and Christians and evangelists and all these other things that have completely sold out the word of God, the truth and love, completely sold it out for political affiliation and for favor among men. And these things just constantly happen. We have wars going on, right? Don't forget, Russia and Ukraine are still locked in a war. Palestine and Israel are still battling. People still dying every day. Just because you don't see it on the front page, just because you don't see it on the first couple seconds of your timeline anymore, doesn't mean it's still not happening. We have the economy that just this past week, the stock market is going in the wrong direction. Yeah. We got all of these things going on. And trust me, I could keep going. I just don't have like a list in front of me. You know what I'm talking about. All these things that if you are actually paying attention, you would notice. And if you are actually paying attention, you wouldn't be surprised by certain things either. And here's what I mean by that. So, me, as the School of HardKnox post, as Mark Knox, the husband, as Mark Knox, the father, as Mark Knox, the business owner, I find a responsibility to be in tune and to be locked in with the world and environment around me so that I can know how to move and be intentional when it comes to my family, my business, my church, everything that I'm involved in. Because if you don't know what's going on around you, you will be surprised when certain things happen. I'll give you an example. My entire timeline over the past 4 or 5 days, this past weekend, plus I think maybe Thursday and Friday, entire timeline, ladies and gentlemen, has been about the meme that came out of the president's social media account on Truth Social that depicted Barack and Michelle Obama, President Barack and First Lady Michelle Obama, in looking like apes, right? Now, regardless of where it came from, because I don't care. I don't care if a staffer did it. I don't care if he did it in the middle of the night. I don't care if I don't care. I don't care where the image came from. The point is the image is there. It's out there. And for most people, the first time they seen it was connected to figure out how I want to refer to this guy. It was connected to his social media account. So whether you want to blame it on a staffer or an intern, like why would an intern have access to your social media? Like, what do you mean? Like you're the president and you let an intern get your social media? Okay. Anyway, I think you see where I'm going here. I don't care the origin. I care the impact. Right? I've told you before, I don't deal in intent. I don't care what your intention was ever. I don't care what your intention was. I don't care what your intention is. When you make a action, when you do something, I am more concerned about the impact. I deal in impact, not in intention. If I was to deal in intention, it'd be a whole lot of things that would be different. But I don't deal in intention because I can't read your mind. But I can see the result of your action, which is the impact. For example, the impact of what came out of his social media account, devastating to a lot of people. I'm seeing all types of people post about this, and now I'm seeing people post condemning the information that came out. I'm seeing people justify the information that came out. I'm seeing people running interference, like, oh, it wasn't him, it was somebody else, and blah blah blah. Get your facts straight. I've seen it all. The impact was crazy. Is crazy. The impact, right? So now we got to deal with the impact. But what I'm telling you is, as somebody who is tapped in and locked in when it comes to political thought, when it comes to cultural awareness and things like that, like I'm tapped in, I'm locked in, I can tell you that I'm not surprised. Like everybody like, oh, he a racist. Like, what you mean? My boy been a racist since the beginning of when we first met him. Like he was a racist when he was doing Central Park 5 stuff, when he put out a full page ad for those 5 young men who didn't actually violate anybody in Central Park, but somebody had to take the fall for it. And he was like, took it upon himself to be the court of public opinion, took out a full page ad. Now that was in the 80s. Buddy been on this for a long time. Or we could go to, what was it, I'm gonna get my years messed up, 2016, 2015, when he was trying to get President Obama's birth certificate published, right? Because he's from Africa, so he can't be, like, he been on this. This ain't new. So when something like this comes out, everybody's in a tizzy. Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? He's this, he's that. Why are you surprised? I'm actually surprised that you guys are surprised. And let me tell you something else. Ooh, I'm in my bag now. There's a difference, guys, between Christians, disciples, believers, and evangelicals. They're not the same. They probably at one time thought they were all the same. They're not the same. It's just not the thing anymore. Like you used to be able to call yourself a Christian, and it was somewhere, it was a safe haven. It was a place where people be like, oh, you know what? He's a man of God. He's a Christian man. Like you can confide in him. Bruh, now when you tell people you're a Christian, you got to come back with a disclaimer. You're like, I'm a Christian, but I ain't one of the weird ones. It's like, yo, because they done turned this whole thing into something that it ain't never was supposed to be. It never was supposed to be. Then you got evangelicals who I guess is just political people, because that's the only time you hear the word evangelical. Now you used to hear it all the time, especially when you talk about Billy Graham and all these type of guys who used to preach, right, in the late 80s, early 97s. Billy Graham and all these famous preachers, they used to call themselves evangelicals. And that was cool. Nobody ever said anything. But now, as soon as you say evangelical, you automatically think of a political party. I'm telling you guys, it's not what y'all think it is. It's not what y'all think it is. And if you had anybody, listen to me, I'm going to come real close on this one. If you had anybody that calls theirself a spiritual leader on your social media, on your timeline, that felt like they had to condemn the actions of the president, I'm telling you right now, there's something behind that. Because guess who doesn't feel like they have to condemn the actions of the president? Me. Because I have no responsibility to him. I have no allegiance to him. You understand what I'm saying? When you feel like you have to get on and let people know that you don't agree with a specific action of another person, that tells me that you're afraid of being guilty by association. When you should have just been on your solo duty all along, following your Bible, following your God, and keeping it about love and keeping it about peace and keeping it about community. But instead, you had to get political. And now when the dude who been messing up messes up again, you got to get on there, put your tail between your legs and condemn everything that he did and make sure everybody knows that you like him, you agree with his policies, but you're not a racist. Nah, man. That's because you're afraid of being guilty by association. And I'm telling you, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. The same people from 2014, 2016, 2020, 2024, who have been justifying this man's actions, who have been, let's say, being running interference for what the stuff he says and the stuff he does. They've been doing it, if I'm counting y'all, for 12 years. They've been doing it for 12 years. You've been apologizing on behalf of him for 12 years. I hate to break it to you, but he's probably not going to change anytime soon. And that's between him and whoever he prays to before he eats. You feel me? So at the end of the day, you got to pay attention. If you're not paying attention, you will be surprised when certain things happen. I wasn't surprised when ICE started going through the neighborhoods and cities looking for people. I wasn't surprised at all. You want to know why? Because if you read Project 2025 before the election, they would have told you exactly what they was going to do. You have to pay attention. I'm not saying that you need to watch the news 24/7. You need to go all in. That's not what I'm saying, because that's not what I do. I'm very selective and intentional about how I ingest news. Very. I listen to commentary, but I read news. I don't watch news. I don't watch CNN and Fox and all these. I don't watch that. I read. I will read an article. But when it comes to commentary, I do listen. I do listen to a lot of talk radio, podcasts, things like that, because I like to stay locked in with the culture. But what I'm telling you is, if you are not in that position to know what's going on, when something like this happens, it'll mess up your whole day. It'll mess up your whole weekend. And that's why I'm here to tell you that we have to pay attention. If you want to progress, if you want to be the best version of yourself, if you want to be what the School of HardKnox says, you want to do profitable action, right? Like you want to lock in and you want to make a better life for your family. You got to pay attention, because there's so many things that's happening around you that if you're not paying attention, it will affect you and it will throw you off your game. Yesterday, I really, really wanted to record a podcast because, again, I was on social media and I was scrolling and I start seeing stuff and I start reading comments, and then people close to me that I feel for, I could tell that they were getting upset, they were getting angry, they was clapping back at people in their comments, and I wanted to get on the pod and I wanted to just unload. Now, some of y'all think I'm unloading now, but I'm really not. Trust me. But reality is, I wanted to get on the pod yesterday and do this, but I looked at CJ and I'm like, nah, I can't do it. I can't do it today. Like I need to go. I need to go to church tomorrow. I need to get a word. I need to get some worship. I need to be around like-minded individuals, other believers. I need to be in community so that I can shed this filth of this world off of me when it comes to stuff that's going on, and I need to go back to ground level. I need to come back to center. So that's exactly what I did. We went to church. Worship was amazing. The word was amazing. I got an opportunity to fellowship, right, with friends and other people at the church. And we got in the car and I said, now I can record the pod because I'm coming from a totally different angle. Things are going to happen in this world that are going to make us all uncomfortable. They're going to make us all angry. They're going to rub us the wrong way. That's just a part of being alive. But when you're paying attention and you start to see trends and you start to see patterns of behavior, these things won't surprise you, my friend. I'll give you an example. My kids, for whatever reason, will knock over a drink at every restaurant that we go to. They have a pattern of this. So when they do it, do I get upset? No, I just ask for more napkins. I'm not surprised when they knock a drink over. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's par for the course. So I'm telling you, I'm saying all of this to say this. Stop getting distracted by the banana in the tailpipe. That's not the issue. Him posting stuff and being and putting on racist tendencies during Black History Month, that's not the issue. He probably knows it's Black History Month, but he don't care enough not to rock the boat during Black History Month. You see, it's like he's not thinking that deep. I don't think. Reality is he probably trying to keep y'all distracted from other things that's going on that he don't want you to know about. I'm not going down that road. You know what I'm talking about. I got files. You feel me? I got files. He probably don't want you to look into those. So he like, let me throw them off of the game a little bit. I'm just saying, like, that's what I'm saying. But again, guys, the reality is if you know, you know. If you don't know, then you're surprised and it'll mess up your whole weekend. It'll throw you off your game. All of that scrolling that you spend time doing all weekend, reading comments and reading condemnation letters from pastors all over the country talking about this is the world and this secret place and this love and all this kind of stuff. Guys, you could have been working on your business plan. Because guess what? Guess who didn't respond? Guess who didn't put out a statement? The Obama. Because they not distracted. And guess what? They not surprised. Racist people do racist things, guys. You feel me? They just do. So don't get distracted. But you gotta pay attention. I really hope this actually makes sense. I'm gonna give you a second to process that. We're gonna hear from Crown Kids.
Knox Nation, quick question. When was the last time you got a break and your kids got their hair done right? That's what we help you do at Crown Kids Healthy Hair Care Salon. Clean parts, healthy hair routines, and a team that knows how to keep kids calm, comfortable, and confident. Yes, we even help our sensory sensitive kiddos. We are located inside of Liberty Mall, just north of Cincinnati, Ohio. Book your next hair appointment, hair party, or group class with Crown Kids, and let's keep those crowns looking right. For more information, just visit us at crownkidshair.com. Again, that's crownkidshair.com.
All right, and we back. Listen to me. I hope the first part of this message didn't get you all off your rocker. Hope you ain't all in your feelings. That's just where I'm at, y'all. I can't sit here and ignore what's going on. It would be very irresponsible for me to do that to you. I know you seeing things. I know you reading things. I know you watching things that's messing with your mental each and every day. I know you worried about gas prices and the economy and how you gonna pay for this, how you gonna pay for that. I completely understand. The thing to do is to not ignore what's going on around you. We can't ignore it. We can't act like nothing's happening. I always get a kick out of people that say, I don't pay attention to politics, or I don't pay attention to that stuff. Like, nah, I don't be. That's not the answer, guys. That's not the answer. The answer is also not to be so engulfed in it that it consumes you. There is a sweet spot, right? There is a sweet spot on what you're bringing in, what you're taking in, what you're digesting, and what you need to get rid of. I always like the saying, what they say, eat the meat, spit out the bones. You know what I mean? Like, let's be smart about this thing. Let's be calculated. Let's be intentional about this thing. Let's make sure that we're not going down the rabbit hole with conspiracy theories and all kind of stuff that's not been proven. Let's be reasonable. Let's be rational. Let's make sure that we extract the issues and the policies that will affect us and our families and our communities on a daily basis. Right? If you don't vote, you ain't been listening to me at all. Because I'm like, I mean, I don't sit here and say vote, 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 vote. But I do sit here and say, like, you need to pay attention to the community. You need to be, you need to lock into the things that are happening around. I mean, I've told you before that the most important elections are local elections. They're not the national presidential elections. They're just not. The most important election is who's going to be your state senator, who's going to be your county commissioner, because those individuals had the power to change your life quick, fast, and in a hurry. You're talking about property tax. You're talking about school levies. You're talking about laws in your state, right? So let's make sure that we're being responsible. Let's make sure that we're paying attention, because people that don't pay attention, guess what they do? I've said this before. They get caught with their pants down, confused and surprised. And it'll be the same people that go straight to social media and be putting out statements and all kind of this is and that. I know you upset. I know you mad. I know you feel like you need to comment. I know you feel like you need to let everybody know what this has done to you. But the reality of the situation is, don't let it take you off your path. Don't let it take you off your path. Even if you got people in your life that's personal to you, that's on the other side of whatever political side you on. If they on the other side of that, that's fine. Just don't let them start talking crazy. Like Van Latham said on Higher Learning Podcast this week, regardless of who you are, if you start talking crazy in my presence, I'm calling balls and strikes. Flat out. Just like he said, I'm calling balls and strikes. I'm going to call you out. If you say something weird around me, I'm going to say something back. I'm not going to let it ride. Because I'm not ignoring what's going on. I'm making sure that I'm paying attention, and we're going to have a hopefully intelligent discussion. Let's be smart about this, guys. Let's be smart about this. We have to get to the point where we're seeing everything that's going on, but we're also protecting our minds too. As the Bible says, we're guarding our hearts. We're not letting everything in, because that's going to affect how we move in this life. You could read something on Facebook. You could read a comment on Facebook. You could see a meme on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. That can affect how you relate to your kids 10, 20 minutes later. Because you done sat there and ingested for an hour all of this stuff about racism and power and files and things like this. And now all of a sudden you mad, you upset, and you can't even love on your kids like you're supposed to. Or you find yourself with your wife or your spouse, and all y'all talking about is politics, and all y'all talking about is race, and all y'all talking about is, and it's like, nah, man, come on. It's a time and a place for that. You got to discuss things. Sure, y'all got to get on the same page. Sure, that's your safe place. I get it. But at the same time, that's not how the Lord wants you to relate to your spouse on a regular basis. He wants you to love on that person. He wants you to be in tune with that person. He don't want you talking about everything that's going on outside of y'all's house. He wants y'all to focus on the next generation he gave you to raise up. He wants you to focus on the legacy y'all build. He wants you to focus on your actual health, your spiritual health, your prayer life. So I'm here to tell you, pay attention and don't be surprised. You got to take them licks and then you got to keep on going. Everything that's going on in the world around us, y'all, I'm here to tell you it's not new. It's not new. It's not new. Paying attention also means that you got to understand your history, because if you understand history throughout the years, throughout the decades of this country, you will understand that America itself is a crime scene. The entire thing. If you understand that America is a crime scene, when another crime happens, when another injustice happens, yes, you are affected, you are upset, you speak out, you protest, you do what you need to do, but you are not in the least surprised. You're just not. And when you're not surprised, it allows you to continue on the specific journey and path that God has you on, so that you can be a light and be salt in the earth. Don't let all of this outside stuff throw you off of that. I know you got to feel. I know you got to internalize stuff. I know you got to experience the disappointment sometimes that happens in this world. I understand. I'm right there with you. But at the end of the day gonna end. That's Chance the Rapper, by the way. Got to give credit. At the end of the day gonna end. And it's gonna be you and whoever you married to talking it out. Don't let it get you off your path. It's not worth it. So listen, when we come back, we're gonna do extra credit, and then we're gonna get y'all out of here for the week. All right? And we back. Ladies and gentlemen, I got some extra credit for you. Let me remind you, extra credit is not doing extra work just for the sake of doing extra work. Extra credit is all about doing things that nobody else is willing to do to get you to places that nobody else can go. I just made that up. I thought it was pretty good. So let me give you two. This is a two-step extra credit. I just sat there and told you that you need to be locked in. You need to pay attention. Let me give you some resources on places to find news, like that I found that to be trustworthy places to find news. Okay. Now, my list is for the culture. There should be no mistaking that. My list is for the culture. I get my news from people that look like I do. Ugh, is what it is. That's just where I'm at right now. Okay, so the first place is the Griot, Griot.com. That's Griot, Griot. Okay. The next one is an app called Hayti. I call it Hayti, but it's probably not pronounced Hayti. It's probably pronounced Haiti. But it's Hayti, and I've got an app on my phone that you sign up for. It's completely free, and it gives you news alerts from pretty much the diaspora of Africans that are spread out throughout the globe. So you get news from the Caribbean, you get news from South America, you might get news from the UK, Australia, you get news from all over the place, right? And it's not just news that affects our culture, it's news that affects the whole world, given through a lens of a lot of Black journalists. Okay, so that's Hayti or Haiti. The next one is where I get my international news from. That's Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera Network is a Middle Eastern news network that has pretty much proven to be trustworthy over the years, right? You get a global perspective on news. So if you go to Al Jazeera, you will actually understand how the rest of the world sees the United States. So when they report on ICE, or when they report on old buddy in the White House, you'll see how they frame it, right? And it's not how we frame it here. It's a little bit different. So pay attention to that. The next one, shout out to Roland Martin, somebody I've been following for a very, very long time, even before he went independent. He runs something called the Black Star Network. He's got YouTube. YouTube presence that's pretty serious. And then he's got an app that's on Roku TV as well. That's the Black Star Network. A lot of commentary, but a lot of news and a lot of informed individuals. Some of the smartest people that are alive today, that are a part of, this Black American experience, you will find on the Black Star Network. The next one is a daily thing for me. It's kind of what I do when I'm in the car, when I'm rolling, when I'm working, and that's Urban View on Sirius XM. I'm always listening to Urban View. I just find that, again, their commentary and the way that they present the news and the issues is 100% geared toward the culture, and I'm for that. So that's Urban View. There's a lot of other good ones. Don Lemon has a great show on YouTube. Joy Reid has a great show on YouTube. There's so many more, but those are the ones that I'm subscribed to and that I lock into for now. Okay, so again, pay attention. I'm going to put that list in the show notes with links to each and every one of them to make it easy for you to access. Today's extra credit. Now, extra credit for me always is going to come with a Bible verse, because that's just how we roll. That's how I move, right? So you might as well get your word out. Here we go. I protect my mind as fiercely as I protect my family. I protect my mind as fiercely as I protect my family. Above all, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. Above all, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. There's so much going on in the world. So much going on in this country. So much going on in our cities. Guard your heart. You know that feeling you get when you might turn on the local news to see the weather, and the next two stories, because you didn't change the channel, was about somebody getting shot, somebody getting killed, somebody getting convicted, that feeling that you get. That's an encroachment on your heart. That uncomfortableness you have, that's close, right? Now, I'm not saying ignore any of that stuff. I'm just saying you got to be able to recognize when you are affected by certain things. And when you start to get affected by certain things, you need to reference Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Because eventually, if you don't guard your heart, if you let every little thing in, if you let everything bother you, if you let everything affect you, that's what you will become. You ever heard this, the phrase, you are what you eat? You ever heard that? You are what you eat? They used to say that all the time. Yeah. You're going to turn into bad news. If you keep consuming bad news, you will turn into bad news. Just saying. So listen, this has been the School of Hard Knocks. I'm your host, Mark W. Knox. Pray for me. we gonna get there. I'm gonna pray for you. You gonna pray for me. We gonna get there. I'll see y'all next week. Thank you for listening to the School of Hard Knocks podcast. You can find our archives as well as new episodes by subscribing on Apple Podcast. Questions or concerns or feedback about the show? Message me directly on Instagram at the School of Hard Knocks. That's KNOX. Thank you for listening. See you next week.